And so this is going to be our sum of cubes example. So we're going to work with this expression 64x to the third plus 1. And we want to factor that. When we work with sum of cubes, it's going to be a binomial. We're going to have two terms. So the first term is 64x cubed. The other term is that plus 1. So we do have these two terms. But the big question that we're going to have to look at, because we are going to factor this stuff, is what was cubed to get the 64x to the third and to get to the 1. All right, so that's the big question that we have to answer. And to get to the 64x to the third, you cubed a 4 and the x. So that's my first term, 4x. Cube that, you get 64x to the third. And then what did I cube to get 1? Well, I cubed 1. All right, so those are the two things. So we needed to identify that. I got a 4x and I got a 1. So we're going to use the 4x and the 1 to finish up this problem, which means we're actually going to do some factoring. Now, when we do this, and remember there is a pattern, when we do this, there is a binomial and then a trinomial. Well, and if I want to create a binomial, I got to have an operation, either adding or subtracting. To create a trinomial, I got to have two operations. So I have to have a first term, I add something, I have another term, and then I add another term or something after that. So we're going to use this acronym called SOAP. So the S goes in the first parentheses, and then the O and the AP get separated in the second parentheses. Remember, the S stands for the same sign, the O stands for the opposite sign, the AP stands for always positive. So when you look at your original expression, it was a plus sign. So we're going to put the plus sign right there. That's my same sign. Now I'm going to go to the opposite sign, and then I'm going to keep the last one as always positive. So there's my operations, and now you can see that I have a binomial and then a trinomial that we're going to have to fill out. Now the nice thing is that we identified the 4x and the 1. So put the 4x in the first part, put the 1 in the second spot for the binomial. So there's your first part. That was the first factor. Now my second factor is going to be this trinomial. And we're still going to use the 4x and the 1. So I'm going to take that 4x and I'm going to square it to get the first term in my trinomial. I'm going to take the 1 and square it to get my last term in the trinomial. And then I'm going to take, and that gets me 16x squared and 1. And then I'm going to take the 4x, I'm going to multiply it to the 1 to get my middle term. So that would be just 4x. Don't worry about any operations. We already figured that out with the same opposite, always positive. All right. So now I'm going to rewrite my final answer. My first factor is the 4x plus 1. That's the binomial. And then my trinomial factor was 16x squared minus 4x plus 1. All right. And that is how you factor using a sum of cubes.